Wow, your boy did it. What's up, everyone? This is Peter Hung. The day after he took the TOEFL test. Now, I never thought that this would happen. I always thought that your boy's English skills are competent, are good enough, that I do not need to take this test. But maybe it's a sign of destiny that I did. Because now I know what you guys have to go through when taking this test. And I know how the test is exactly laid out. So, because I've gone through this stuff, I can help explain things to you guys and think of ways that could help you master or get the score that you want, right? Because sometimes the first step you need is to get a score that is high enough so that you can begin your journey studying overseas, getting a job overseas, before you can be thrown into the environment, whether it's American or any other English-speaking country, and then you truly master the language. All right? So, TOEFL. TOEFL. Not really. So, TOEFL. What is this test about? What is this thing? Okay? Well, after taking it, this is what I have to say. TOEFL is a test that tests your ability to survive in American English education system. Most importantly, university life or college life here. Now, why do I say this? So, we all know that there are 4 sections. And it begins with a reading section, and then the listening section, and then the speaking section, and finally the writing section. Okay? Now, all these sections, when I took the test, were involved or were related to things that you would face, things that would come up if you are in American colleges, American universities, right? So, for example, the reading section. The reading section where you have, I think, 3 passages. So 3, kind of short essays or 3 short, stories or sections of an article that you have to read. And you had to answer, I think, 12 questions on each passage. So for a total of, let's say, 42 questions. Okay? Now, all these passages, they were about things that you would probably see in American class. So it could be from science. So if you're taking biology, talk about the tropical rainforest and how deforestation did this and did that. Okay? It would talk about maybe history. So throughout history, George Washington was the first president or something like that. Okay? So all these passages are things that you would probably see in a textbook or in a reading assignment that school gives out to you. Okay? Now next, the listening section. What do they have you listening to? Do they have you listening to my sexy voice? No, they do not. I wish they did, but they do not. So they have you listening to, most likely, most of the time, two students talking about a problem they're facing. So for example, they're like, listen to two students talk about a topic and pay attention to what they're talking about and answer the following questions. And then the audio, the sound will be, hey Gina, how are you doing today? Oh, I'm doing very well. How are you? Oh, I'm great. I am here at the library, but I have a problem. Oh, really? What is your problem? My printer doesn't work at home, so I have to go print out some handouts for this presentation that I'm doing. Oh, really? But then what are you gonna do? Did you go to a printing facility here to print out your handouts? Oh, well, I did try to do that, but when I went to go there were like 20 people in line, and because I woke up too late because my alarm for some reason didn't go off today, I'm gonna be late, so I have to find another solution to do it. Oh, really? Well, there's another building in this campus that you can go print at. It is called the computer lab. Maybe you can try that place first. Oh, I guess I can, but I don't really know where that place is. So I'm afraid I might get lost. Plus, I only have 20 minutes. Maybe I should just email the whole class, my handouts, and they can just look on their cell phones and smartphones and laptops, whatever, and they'll be fine, right? I guess. Now that you've listened to the following discussion, recording whatever they're majiggly bobbly, which solution would you recommend the student take? Explain why you think that solution best fits the situation. You have 45 seconds to respond. Beep! So these sections, right? Oh no. Hold up. Let me back up. That's for the speaking section. We're jumping way too ahead for ourselves. So let me go back. So for that section, it would be one of the questions will be oh man, I really screwed up here. Okay, let's just say that's the speaking section. Okay, you guys get the point, right? Now let's go back to the listening section. So they'll give a listening thing where it is mainly the lectures. Okay, so it will be a lecture about I don't know, for the test I had, it was about like ethanol, the alcohol related energy producing majiggly bobbly thing, right? About these science classes, about these science lectures that are boring. Okay? Or they'll also have maybe so listen to the following thing about a professor and a student that she's meeting. And then it'll be oh, hi Kelly, what brought you here today? Oh yeah, I was here to ask about last week's assignment because I went out of town and I missed the notes on it, and I see that we have a test we have a test coming up, and I just want to be prepared because I do not want to fail this test, okay? Because I need to graduate, I need to get out of here. Oh, okay, I see. Well, first of all, I don't even know why you would be skipping class. No, that's not what they say. I'm just trying to make this spicy, okay? Okay, guys? So, he'll say, why don't you stop by my office, blah, 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 okay? And then he'll ask the question, what did the professor mean when he said this? Oh, that is interesting. Maybe you should not do that next time. And then the answer, the choices will be, he encourages her to continue her habits, or B, he is disinterested in what the student has to say, or 3, he thinks that the student is lazy and should not do the same behavior again. And of course, the answer is C, right? Now, they say in prettier terms, but you get the point, right? So, the listening section, they kind of test your ability to listen to conversations that students might have with each other, or students might have with professors, or the professor would teach in the lecture. And then they ask you, what does this mean? They test your ability on that. Okay? Wow. Okay, and then we already gone through what the speaking section would be. And then the last thing would be writing. Now, writing is kind of like this. They have 2 sections. So the first section is they let you read. They let you read an article by the critic. Okay, so for example, mine was people say that, people think that the extinct woodpeckers are actually alive because of 3 reasons. Okay, and then the passage, and then it says, but critics think those people are dumb because of these reasons. Okay, so that's a passage. And then you'll listen to a lecture or a speech by a professor, and the professor will say, the critics' reasonings are wrong because of this 3 reasons. Okay? And then after that, you have 30 minutes to write your essay explaining why the professor thinks that the critics' reasonings are bad, and explain why, and stuff like that. Okay, so this might, come in handy when you're in class and you have to write an essay. Okay? So you have to write an essay based on what you're taught. Okay? Now, the second writing task, they just give you an essay question. There's no listening, no reading, except for the question. And you just go. You use your imagination. You have a lot of freedom. But with a lot of freedom, it might be harder to kind of think of what you want to write, think of the direction you want to go. So it might be easier for some people, but it might also be harder for some people. So the question would be, do you agree or disagree with the following statement? Mine was, improving schools is the most important factor when determining the success of the development of a country. You have 30 minutes to revise, to come up, to edit your essay. Please ensure you have written 300 words and that your spelling is not the wrong one. or else you'll get a low score. And then go. And so these are copies of when, let's say, a lecture, let's say you're in a writing class and you have to write an essay or something. They give you a topic, or you have to do a research paper. And they test your ability to write in the same format that would require of you on an essay. And usually those essays at home, those homework assignments, they take way longer time. And but you're not timed. You're not timed 30 minutes to write out a paper. But on this occasion, they're testing to see if you're giving a short amount of time, can you come up with something instead of, copying other people's stuff. So that's the writing section. Wow, isn't that just interesting? Now, let me go through the gritty, itty-gritty, mitty details of how the whole test works, the whole day. Okay? So for me, unfortunately, I had to drive 2 hours to a nearby city to take the test. Now, thankfully, my mama, she drove when I got off work because she's a boss mommy, okay? She took me, so it helped because I was able to rest after getting off work. And so we drove 2 hours. We stayed at a hotel, okay? A crappy hotel. The air conditioning wasn't working. It was hot. And I didn't sleep at all. But it's okay, I woke up, drank some coffee. It's all good, We had some Thai food that night. It was really good, know what I'm saying? So, your boy had to crank up his adrenaline, and had to get this test done. So, and then in the morning at 8 a.m., I had to be at this testing location center. Okay? So, what happens is I showed up and you're supposed to bring your ID, your identification. They have to see, are you really the person that signed up to take this test? Did you get somebody who looks similar to you to take the test for you because your English freaking sucks? Okay? They're seeing if you're cheating or not. Oh man. I feel bad for the people that, that have to clone themselves or put like a mask on someone else to take the test for them, because man, you must be really desperate, right? So you show up, you go in there, you have to show up 30 minutes in advance, and then they look at your IDs. Now, preferably, so like if you're in the US, they want to see your passport along with your driver's license if you have it. So those are 2 IDs. They want you to bring at least 2 IDs. So that's what I did. Now, when I showed up, right, I was like the second guy to check in. The third guy was, I think, this Vietnamese guy. 越南的男生. I don't know, but the guy was like, okay, can I see your passport, please? And he was like, oh. He's trying to like fumble through his backpack. And that's when I was like, oh my goodness, this guy forgot his passport. Oh man, he's gonna end up wasting the $205 registration and the time to get here, because they might not let him take the test. So, I mean, I think he ended up being okay because he had a driver's license and the guy was just, okay, I'm just gonna do it for you. But, so that's that. So, make sure you bring 2 forms of identification. Okay? And then after that, you go into the room next door. So, there were 2 workers. Okay? So, the other worker, what they'll do is, okay, you, they make sure you store all your stuff in the locker. So in the testing center, in the lobby area, kind of, there are small little lockers that you can put your stuff in. And then, you have keys that, you can pull out so that you can make sure that your stuff, like your cell phone and your wallet, won't get stolen. And then you just take the key, and you can take the key and your passport with you into the testing center or into the computers where you do the TOEFL test. So after you empty all your pockets, right, you go into the next room, and then they have you sign in. So you sign your signature, right? And then if you're wearing glasses like me, because you can't see, they have you set down your glasses and make sure that you don't have like camera lenses or those secret spy gadgets attached to it, so you're not cheating. And then they have you empty out your pockets, pat yourself on the butt, make sure you're not, and then roll your sleeves up to make sure you're not, you didn't write anything on your sleeves. And then they use a metal detector, and they beep boop beep beep boop 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 boop, turn around, beep beep boop 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 boop. Okay, you're good to go. Okay, so and then after that, they give you some paper and some scratch and some pencils to write with. And so they give you this like pink paper of like 8 pages that you can write on. And if you need more, you just raise your hand when you're taking the test, and they'll bring you more. Now, and then what they do is you go into the computer room, and then they'll say, okay, stand next to the wall. So you stand next to the wall, and then he'll set up the computer, and then when he's ready, he'll call you over and put you in the computer chair. Now, let me describe this testing room. So the testing room is kind of the place that I took it. It was, I think, probably maybe 12 to 15. I would say kiosks or a little table station. And so you have the computer, you have headphones set, and then the keyboard, and then when you're sitting down, you have you're boxed out. So there's this panel that blocks the view. So in front of you, inside of you. Okay? And so they put you in the place that's, kind of separate from other test takers if there are more than one. Now, if you show up early, they just bring you in, check you into the computer lab, based on your order. So if you show up early, that means you can probably finish earlier and then leave. Okay? So what it is you have the reading and the listening section first, and then followed by a 10-minute break. So a 10-minute break, that's when you can go outside, pee, eat, drink a little bit, and then you have to check back in. So they make sure you didn't bring anything back from the bathroom or outside and, cheat, okay? So the reading they give you a total of 60 minutes to read 3 passages and to answer 42 questions. And in the listening section, I think it's also a total of maybe like 40 minutes of listening stuff. Maybe not that long, but maybe 30 or 40 minutes of listening to stuff. And then you have like another 40 questions that you have to answer within like maybe 20 minutes. I'm not sure exactly, but in total, there's like 2 hours between the reading and listening section before you finish. Okay, and then you have your break. And then it will test your microphone for the listening section too. So it will say, now we are preparing to see if your microphone levels are good. And then they'll have this bar where you just speak, and then so the headset will have like a microphone thing that hangs on the side in front of your mouth. And so you speak into it, and then the volume will boop, 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 and then it will kind of like go to the right, like a green bar, and then it tells you if you're good, if you're in the good box. So you just want to speak in your normal voice, right? Okay. So they test that. And then the speaking sections around probably around 30 to 40 minutes, because you have to listen to stuff, and then you have to respond, etc., etc. And then the writing section, you have total of 60 minutes for the two passages. Okay. Now you can finish before that, or you can use all your time. Okay. So after that, after you're done, then you're good to go. You grab your things and you're good to leave. Whoa, excuse me. Wow. Okay. And then you can look up your results online 10 days after you take the test to see what score you got. Okay, so fair enough, right? Fair enough. That's the process of it. Now you might be thinking, because there are other people that they're kind of all in, testing in different time slots because they put you in by order. And some people might finish earlier, some people might finish later in each sections. So you might be thinking, what happens when there are people talking? Okay, so let's say if everyone's so happen to be on the speaking section. If it just so happens that you're lined up and let's say your testing center is full, so you have one person right next to you, would it be too loud? Too distracting? Now for what happened with me, we only had probably 5 to 6 test takers that day. And there was nobody directly next to me in the testing computer. So what happened was, because I was like the second one to get checked in, I did most of my speaking tasks first before anyone else. Okay? So no one was distracting me kind of when I was doing my speaking sections. Now, when I got to my writing section, I would hear the other test takers do their speaking section. But I wasn't able to tell the exact words that they said. Some maybe, but not all of it. But I could hear like when they were talking. But it wasn't super loud and distracting. So that was good. But I mean, it just depends on your testing center. Maybe if you have a lot of people, then it might get crazy. Okay? But just keep that in mind, okay? So yeah, I mean that was my thing. Now, I have to say, I didn't prepare much for this test, right? And as someone who is I consider myself a native speaker. That test is really hard, If I put myself into a foreigner's shoes, man, it is hard to answer some of those questions, like especially the reading section. A lot of the passages are those scientific weird words, and then they ask you weird questions, and then you have to find the things, and it's not like for certain. And a lot of the questions, you're stuck between two choices. And it's just not easy, okay? So, and for me, there was one speaking section where I ran out of time, or I took too long to say what I want to say. So I didn't end it, stop speaking, and then beep, the recording stopped. It cut me off halfway through my last sentence. And in the one of the writing section, I do not know why. I was like already finished with the essay, but for some reason, stupid reason, I decided to add a conclusion paragraph, and I got cut off like 3 words, after I'm done with the sentence. And I was like, oh my gosh, dang it. I didn't finish on time. Maybe I'll get deduction points. But maybe not. But I wrote my essays with like a lot of high vocabulary and, sentence structures. So hopefully that will be okay. So my overall feeling is this. The TOEFL test, it is very hard. Even if you're a native speaker, because you have to be able to focus and concentrate for 4 hours, okay, about topics that you might not even know what it is about, okay? And not only do you have to speak, you have to write. So it is not an easy task to do at all. That is why a lot of foreigners struggle with it. That's why a lot of people, they have to take it multiple times. First, to kind of know what the test is about. Second, to kind of think that, okay, I studied more this time, so I think I'm more prepared. And the third time, to actually get a higher score. And it's very frustrating when you don't get a score that you want, because it costs a lot of money, because $200 USD is not cheap. It wastes a lot of time and energy, especially if you have to work. And it's just very tough. Very, very tough. So that's the thing, right? These podcasts are meant to help you guys, those who really need it. And not just taking this TOEFL test, but just surviving in an English-speaking environment. Because it goes way beyond TOEFL. Because TOEFL gives you kind of like a little chunk of what daily life would be like as a college student, but it is nowhere near the whole scope. It does not include a lot of the, social norms, the catchphrases, the kind of like the expressions people make. There's no video of the people interacting. So it doesn't include a whole lot of that. And without being in the environment itself, and sometimes you even need to have people explain to you what certain things mean, okay? But that's why these podcasts exist, is to help you guys, all right? Is to better your possibility for the future, because maybe you feel like you are stuck in a place that you're not happy with where you're going. You're not happy of the outlook of your job, of your life, whatever it might be. You feel like you want to make more money so you can, find a wife or husband, and you can marry, and then you can provide for your kids, whatever it might be. So that's what these are for, okay? So, episode 9, podcast number 9, we talked about TOEFL. I did it. I finally took the test. Now, whether I got the score that I needed, which wasn't very high to begin with, we will see in 10 days. I hope I get it, because, shoot, if I don't, then I lose some credibility, Why would you guys listen to somebody who didn't score very high on TOEFL? I mean, besides the fact that the people who I helped, their scores all improved like by 25%, okay? And that's not even like with a lot of helping time. Just saying, okay? Just saying. Not to brag or anything, but I mean, sometimes you gotta let people know, how good you're at something. Oh, man. Okay. So, that's it. And you already know the routine. What do we do at the end of podcast? When we're ready to close it up, we ask you a couple questions and hope that you will have the courage to actually pull out your cell phone and find the recording application, whatever, and record your responses, your answers to the questions that I ask. Or even so, just speak out loud, like as if I'm in front of you and I just ask you a question and you have to reply, you have to respond to me. Okay? And the question is this, very simple. If you're clever, you probably know what I'm going to ask. Okay? The question is, have you guys ever taken the TOEFL? Do you guys need to take it? And if you do, for what reason? And if you have taken the TOEFL test, how did you do? What did you think of it? Was your experience the same as mine? Did you have any difficulties? Did you find it hard? Did you find it easy? Which section? The 4 sections: reading, speaking, listening, writing. Did you find the hardest? Okay? All these things. Did my story kind of match with your experience? Are there any other questions that you want to know about the process? Maybe deeper insight? Tell me about it, okay? Record yourself. Talk as long as you can, just like I did on this. No filter, no editing. You just turn on the microphone and just speak like you're a crazy man. You kind of laugh to yourself and you make jokes that aren't even funny. And, you do stuff like this where you have water breaks and you just drink water and don't care. All right, guys. So that's what I want you guys to do. Okay? So thanks for tuning in, for listening to Improving Your English Speaking podcast. All right? The next one is the 10th one. And by then, all these podcasts should be up. And then eventually we will get a really good format down. And hopefully we will have listeners participate. All right? All right, so I hope you guys had a great day, weekend, whatever. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace!